What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a how to submit to PSA video. So we have a video that shows you how to package to submit to PSA or BGS or whatever company you're trying to submit your cards to for grading. But today we're going to do the actual submission process online, because I know a lot of people have asked in the channel and in the comment section in a lot of our videos to do it. And it's just, this is like probably one of the very few times where I have some time to do this. So hopefully we'll have more tutorials for other things in the future, but without further ado, let's start off with step number one. And if you guys like this kind of content and want to see more, consider dropping a like down below and subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel and really helps us grow and helps us put more content out there like this for you guys. So first step is you're going to have to go to psacard.com, and this is what the main homepage looks like. Guys, just an FYI before we even get into it, they make this thing very easy. So a lot of you guys will be surprised like how easy it is to submit. So you're going to start with this blue button here, click submit, even if you don't have an account. If you do have an account, you just sign in, and then you're gonna have to skip to the later steps in this video, but let's assume you don't have an account. So you go to join now, and I'm gonna try to make an account that has not been used with PSA. Okay, breakfast cards, so we'll do breakfast cards, and obviously guys, you're not gonna make an account with this information. You're gonna put your first name, your last name, email, and then password. I don't even know, like for now, let's just do like have a secure password, but for simplicity's sake, we're just gonna make like a simple password so that I don't forget. Okay. Okay, and then obviously you want to check this. If you want to read the whole thing, you can. It's going to take a while, but I recommend you do read the user agreement and privacy policy. Must contain one uppercase letter. Okay, we'll fix that. Must contain special character. Oh my god. All right, guys, so you're learning with me too. I haven't made like a new account with PSA in a very long time, so let's just do this. Okay. We should be good to go. We're gonna get a verification code. Good thing I have the email ready so we can do this together. All right, so we're gonna do, okay. And we gotta put in the password. Almost thought I forgot it there for a second. We just made the password. So don't save. And this should take us to, sure. So this looks very new to me, so I'm glad that I'm showing you guys step by step like how to go through this. But it just is showing you like what all is involved in this whole process. So we're just going to continue to PSA. And the very first time I made a PSA account, probably 3 to 4 years ago, I want to say. So all right, so it took us basically back to the homepage, not that we made an account, and we're going to go to submit. And there's a lot of things that we're gonna, okay, so if you click this and it takes you back to the same page, and you have to click the green button. So start your submission. There's gonna be a lot of things I'm gonna explain right now on the fly. Hopefully it's not too confusing for everyone, but I'm trying to cover as much as I can. So most of the time, and for most people watching this channel, you are gonna be submitting trading cards, whether it's sports, Pokemon, Magic, like whatever it is. It's almost always going to fall in this first category. I've never submitted anything else like other than this first one, like probably, I don't know, 50, okay, maybe not 50 submissions, maybe like 30 submissions, 30 to 40 submissions total. I've always just chosen trading cards because I've never really wanted to submit oversized cards. I know they exist in like Pokemon or like some Chinese products, or even like the Finest flashbacks, they have like oversized cards, but I've never had to submit anything else. So just FYI, if you want, you have all these different options to submit through PSA for grading. So let's click next. Now that we've chosen item type, it's going to take us to submission type. I don't know why the website is a little slow here. So you have grading, review, crossover, reholder. I'll try to explain what all of these are as much as I can, but basically grading is what you're going to want to do every single time. You're just, submitting a card getting a grade on it, whether it's just the card grade or the auto grade, and we'll get to that in a sec. And then review is basically kind of like they give you their opinion of what it'll get without actually putting it in a slab or grading it. Crossover is, for example, let's say you have like a slab from BGS or SGC or CGC or whatever, and you want to move that card over to PSA slab. So this is what you would select. I've never personally used crossover. I've only in my entire lifetime used grading and reholder. And what reholder is basically if your PSA slab is damaged or there's some like incorrect information on the label or whatever, you would just select this to basically correct it or put it in a new slab. Or if you have like a very, very old slab, like a PSA slab that doesn't have like the lighthouse technology or whatever, you would just select reholder. But anyway, let's choose grading. And now this opens up to what a lot of people, this might seem a big can of worms, but actually guys, this is really, really simple. I know a lot of people, especially if this is your first time, like you'd get overwhelmed with like how to do this. And this was exact same thing that happened to me when I was first submitting. It was all very, very confusing, but I did it like a few times and then it just made sense after that. So most people, almost, I mean, I don't have exact statistics, but I'm going to say, let's just for simplicity's sake, say 9 out of 10 people will always just submit no autograph authentication. And what that is, basically, it's really helpful to use this image as an example. And it's like, you know, really nice that PSA has it on their website. So this is what your label would look like. And if you're grading any card, this is basically what it's going to be. You know, they have the set info, the year, and then the name, and then the parallel down here. Usually they have like a barcode, lighthouse here, and then they have the logo in the back to, you know, prevent counterfeits. And then they have the card number, and then they have the name of the grade, and then they have the number of the grade. And obviously, you know, you can go from like 1 to 10. And then they have the serial number here for the graded card itself. So this is what you're almost always going to be using when you're submitting. So you don't even have to worry about these, but I'll explain these very quickly just in case. So dual service here, no grade to card or autograph. Basically, you're just grading something to you know, say or have PSA say that it's authentic. So you're not going to get a grade on it, and you're not going to get a grade on like the autograph. So you're just sending it to them. Basically, what they're telling you if you choose this is that, hey, this is not a fake item. This is authentic. You have PSA's sign of approval, basically, and then you can go and do whatever you want with it. So that's that. Dual service card grade only. Basically, it'll do the same thing as what you see above, the very, very first one. It'll give you a grade for your card, and then the grade for like the auto won't happen. So it'll just tell you that, hey, the auto is authentic, and that's it. They'll actually grade the card. They'll give you a grade, but they won't grade the auto. So when is this useful? A lot of people have asked on the Discord, and you know, we've explained this in the past, but now they're making a tutorial video about this, might as well talk about it. This is useful for when you have an auto that is like, let's say it's like a sticker auto. You have an auto where the auto itself isn't completely on the sticker, like when the player was signing, you know, they like signed outside of the sticker a little bit. So you'll see it in a lot of stickers sometimes. Like it's not called like fully on sticker. So that's like one scenario where you don't want to, you know, grade the auto, but you do want to get a grade for the card. And honestly, like most people don't even bother with this service when that's the case, because more often than not, the auto is authenticated by like Panini and Topps, like as is when it comes into the product. So this maybe is like an issue for like older cards or like different companies that aren't as big. So most people, if the auto looks iffy, they would just go with this one. PSA will still give you a grade for the card itself, even if it has an auto, if you just submit it like this. So even if you want to grade the auto too, and you submit it with this option, PSA will not grade the auto. It'll just give you a grade for the card itself, for the card condition. So anyway, going back to this, that's basically what this does. It's like this, except they'll tell you in this one that, okay, the auto's legit, it's authentic, you're good to go. Next one is dual service autograph grade only. So basically very similar to this one previously, except you switch the card grade with the auto. So they're not grading the card itself. So the card could be in like really, really bad condition, but there's an autograph on there and you want to like get the autograph grade. So this is an option where, you know, like let's say you don't want to grade a card and have it be like a PSA 3 or something, and then the auto is like a 9 or 10. So in that case, you just want to, you know, submit it as authentic. PSA knows that the card itself is from like an authentic set, like legit. All that stuff is from like a set that actually has a checklist from a known manufacturer, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll only grade the auto. And so a lot of people would actually skip this and they would just do authentic. If the card is like in bad condition, a lot of people would just like ignore grading anything and they would just like submit it authentic. So back to this, that's basically the opposite of this in terms of this one, you're grading the card itself and then you're not grading the auto. And here you're not grading the card itself and you are grading the auto. Last one here is dual service card and autograph grade. Basically, this is the epitome of all the grades. And the reason why I say epitome is if you grade a card and it gets a 10 and the auto also grades as a 10, obviously you're looking at a gem mint 10 auto for the card, and then you're looking at a auto 10. And who doesn't like anything more than a 10-10? Imagine having one of those gold autos, like gold prism autos, and it grades a gem mint 10, auto 10, the card is numbered out of 10, and the number of the card is 10. Like how much better can that be? So that's like the kind of stuff that like super diehard collectors I feel like look for. So in general, when you grade a card that has an auto and you're only grading the card itself and it gets a gem mint 10, awesome. But obviously people can look at the card and they can see if the auto is like off sticker, on sticker, like whatever. But when you grade this dual service card and autograph grade, you know, obviously you're guaranteeing that everything is perfect about the card. So it just appeals to so much more people. And typically these cards that have autographs and everything is a 10, they sell for slightly more to like significantly more depending on the player and depending on the rarity of the card. So that is this category, and we're obviously just going to go with almost always what we're going to choose. No autograph authentication. We're just grading the card. For example, like Pokemon cards or Magic, you don't really have any autos on them from inside the set. You'd obviously have to take it to the artist or to the creator or whatever, and then they'll sign it. And then you'll have to do some other of these submissions. So let's just assume that we're doing a sports card that is not great. Sports card that is not graded, Pokemon card, whatever, and doesn't have an autograph. And even if it does have an autograph, we're not going to grade the autograph. So that's submission type. Let's go to the next step, which is going to be service level. And this can actually get very, very, very complicated. And I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this segment, but you have all these different, categories. You have service levels, you have max declared value per item, you have pricing. So this can immediately be very, very confusing and overwhelming for a lot of people. So what we're gonna, start with, unless you're submitting, like really older stuff. I mean, they do a pretty straightforward job at like categorizing like these service levels. So for the first one, value 1979 to older. Basically what value means is that you're basically submitting it at the cheapest price level that PSA has. And this is obviously for cards that are 1979 and older. So if it's newer than that, you can't submit through this. And that's basically it. Same thing for 1980 to present. So basically anything newer than this is the value category that you're going to choose. And it costs $25 a card. Sometimes PSA will like be running specials and discounts and like what holiday, like whatever. So sometimes you'll see these go down maybe all the way to $15 per card. It used to be like $10, I want to say, once upon a time, maybe even less. But anyway, this is the time that we live in 2023. So this is the pricing for that category and then this category as well. And typically these take much longer to get them back from PSA graded than like all the other ones that we're going to get into here in a sec. So this would be the category that you choose that, obviously is for any cards 1980 to present. And we'll go to the like timeline here in a sec. I'll just open up a new tab so we'll touch on it in a little bit. But yeah, the next category is value plus, and this is basically a slight improvement in terms of turnaround time from the category above, and it costs $40 a card. Previously, these were all like called different things. They like changed the pricing and they called the categories different things as there was more demand over time with PSA. But pretty straightforward. This basically just increases your turnaround time for grading. And so far we've been dealing with max declared value per item of $499. And what this basically means, guys, is the value of the card that you think the card is going to be after it grades. So if you're sending a card assuming it's going to get a PSA 10, that's how much the value would be that you would declare in the next step, which we'll get here in a sec. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys that this is basically what this number means. And let's see what happens when we click on this. Okay, so there's a lot of, okay, we're not really going to do that. But basically that's the quick answer to this question. What is declared value on PSA's website? So next category is regular, and obviously you can submit cards that are going to be worth in PSA 10 or PSA 9, or even like, because especially with like vintage, even if it's like PSA 5 and it's worth like $14.99, this is the category that you're going to have to submit it through. And this costs $75 a card. Next one is Express, and this is even faster. So as we go down, these are all going to be faster turnaround times and going to be higher value. So there's like a happy medium in between. Eventually, it doesn't really matter how quickly you're going to get your cards back. If obviously they're all in the $4.99 category. So if you don't mind waiting a very, very long time, I'd recommend going with the lower cost than going with the $40. But we'll get to the turnaround times here in a sec. Next one's going to be Super Express, and the limit here is basically $4,999. I'm just going to call them 5,000 here. And the pricing per card is $300, which is obviously a lot. You're submitting one card's getting graded. It's $300. And then you have Walkthrough, which again, we'll see the schedule here in a sec, or the turnaround times, but this should be like 1 to 2 days. And these are for like super, super expensive cards, like RPAs, like rookies, like, I don't know, like Jordans or LeBrons, or like super, super older cards that are typically worth more, unless it's like a card that, like I said, that just came out and it's like a very, very expensive card. A lot of people would do this. And then you have Premium 1, Premium 2, Premium 3, 5, 10. Basically, this just shows you that this is how much the card is worth when you submit it, or when you assume the grade it's going to get at the value of that grade, if that makes sense. And then, yeah, it costs $1,000 to grade one card, and then 2, 3, 5, 10. So just an FYI, these are extremely, extremely rare scenarios. I don't know a lot of people that use anything probably above this walkthrough, if anything. But obviously there are cards that are going to be worth this, but those are extremely, extremely rare. So let's go to the turnaround times. So this is the PSA homepage. If you go to submit once again, and you go to this page here that we saw before, you scroll down and you see all these estimated turnaround times and business days for each service level. So for a reholder that we touched on very, very slightly, it's going to be like a month, actually slightly more than a month, because this is like business days, 30 business days. That's like six weeks. So it's like a month and a half. And these are all like estimated. They can increase, they could decrease. I've submitted cards that, got graded way quicker than I thought, like two to 3 weeks quicker than I thought. And I've had cards that sat with PSA for like 18 months. I am not joking. There were cards I submitted to PSA that sat with them for 18 months. Some of them sat for 14 months, some of them 12 months, some of them 11 months. But I think that was like towards like the peak of the market and all that. But anyway, TCG bulk, they typically separate these. So when we were looking at this list here, they didn't separate them by like TCG. So maybe currently they have them grouped. But yeah, you have TCG bulk 65 days, value 65. And then you see, this is where the difference happens. When you go to value plus, you'll have 20 days. So that's a big difference from 65 days to 20 days. And obviously you're paying $15 more per card, like we saw. So from value to value plus, difference of $15. So that is why you're paying that much more for the turnaround time, like we mentioned. And then when you go up to regular, it's 10 days, Express 5 days, Super Express 3 days. Walkthrough is 3 days still for some reason. So maybe this is the absolute quickest they can grade. So even though you're paying way more for a walkthrough compared to Super Express, you're not really getting any more like speed in terms of grading. But the reason why you would want to select walkthrough or premium over Super Express, even if it's like the same amount of turnaround time for grading, is for the value of the card itself. So PSA, they normally, if you submit something through Express and it's worth more than $2,500, PSA will know as well. Most of the time, they're very, very experienced. They've been doing this for so long that if you try to, pay for less, pay like $150 to submit it at $300, PSA will know. They'll see the value of the card and then they'll upcharge you. So they'll automatically charge you more if, for example, it gets a PSA 10, and this is how much a PSA 10 is worth, like $5,000, they're not going to let you pay 150. They're going to tell you, hey, this is actually the correct category. You should have submitted 300. And, you know, obviously this plays in like priority and like insurance, and obviously there's like an insurance category later on. But anyway, for simplicity's sake, let's just go to value plus, since I know this is, well, actually, let's just go value. 1980, this is like the cheapest one. This is what a lot of people are going to submit. You're going to wait for 65 days, but hey, it might be worth it because you have cards that can be worth all the way up to 500. Previously, they had a cap at like, I think $100 or $200. So it's a much, much better situation right now, guys. So you don't have to submit super, super cheap cards in order to use this value service. Okay. I feel like that was a very, very long segment, but I think we're just trying to cover everything 100%, make sure all you guys understand. And up next is item entry. And sometimes these will have minimum limits. I don't see it here. It might tell us when we try to submit it. We'll try it out here. So sometimes when you're submitting value, or maybe that's like for specials, PSA will tell you you can only do the submission if you have 10 cards minimum or 20 cards minimum. And I've done that in the past, but it doesn't seem like that's the case right now. So let's just try to, I don't know, submit any random card. Let's do 2020 Prism Premier League. And okay, let's do Harry Kane. Harry Kane. So it'll give you basically, like, this system is really good at showing you all the cards from that set. So all you have to do is type in like a series of keywords, and I recommend doing it in this order: year, company, set, and then player name, and then parallel. So if we do gold here, it'll narrow it down, I think, a little bit more, or it'll push it up to the top. So Harry Kane Gold Prism. All right, cool. And let's say if we grade it, the condition that we inspected it in, like there's some corner that has like a whitening or whatever, it's gonna be PSA 9. So Harry Kane Gold PSA 9, you're gonna have to do research. We're gonna do this in a separate video in the future, but for simplicity's sake, after doing our comps on like eBay, 130 Point, like whatever other websites you see for like sold listings, let's say Harry Kane from 2020 Panini Prism, gold out of 10, PSA 9 would typically go for, I don't know, like let's just say it's like 200.
We cannot
oh my god. So okay, hotkeys from the recording item. That was, I totally forgot about that. Okay, let me do this again. All right, no sounds. So, and I forgot to mute this because typically that's what happens. But okay, that threw me off. Wow, hold on, I gotta gather my senses. Okay, so Harry Kane PSA 9. If it grades a PSA 9, we can probably, if we want to sell it, it'll sell for like $200. So let's click save. And let's keep adding cards. Let's just say we want to submit like 5 card submission. Let's do 2023 Erling Haaland autograph museum. Did he have an autograph museum? I'm pretty sure he did. Tops and knockout. I don't, museum collection Bundesliga. Okay, maybe that was a little too ambitious. Oh, it's because I wrote autograph. Typically they don't. I should have just went with something simple, very, very simple. Or 2022. Okay, so 2023-24 is the new season, that's why. But it's, okay, so we found something down here. Holland framed autographs. All right, let's go with that. And actually that was probably a very, very bad idea because it's worth way more than $500. Okay, guys, sorry. This is the kind of thing that it will actually happen to you when you're inserting this card. Sometimes you don't realize ahead of time that, wow, this card is actually probably in a PSA 10 or PSA 9 going to be worth way more than $500. So I can't submit it here, so I have to do a separate submission. So if you have like a mix of different values of cards, you're going to have to do different submissions with different service levels. Or if you submit it through here, PSA will just upcharge you, but I don't know if like there's going to be like any other things that are going to change about your order. I think I've only been upcharged once, and it was like in a submission of like 50 cards or something, and it was like one card that was like upcharged just by like the next category. So anyway, let's not do Erling Haaland. 2022 museum, I don't know, Mason Mount. Mason Mount, autographs, sure. Let's say in a PSA 10, I almost clicked the hotkeys again. Let's say it's $100 in a PSA 10. So let's save. Oh, so that actually went 2020, not 2023. So that's something else that you probably want to watch out for. So we typed in 2022 and then we chose 2020. So just to show you guys this is a learning process, we don't actually want to do this. Let's just select 2022 Museum, UEFA, and see, honestly, at this point, I'm not even going to pick and choose like what player. UEFA. Okay, we're only getting like baseball players. Okay, for simplicity's sake, let's just choose Mike Trout. Okay, Mike Trout. Base card, I don't know, maybe $150, and probably not even worth that much, but I'm just throwing out declared values out there. And then let's do 2021, 22, Harvey Elliott. Why not? Harvey Elliott. Select. This was from probably Chronicles. Yeah, there we go. Panini Chronicles. Blue, purple mojo, green, black 1 of 1. We're not going to do those. Let's just select blue. If you want to sell that in a PSA 10, maybe, I don't know. I think that was his rookie card, so 50 to 75 bucks maybe. And then, and obviously you guys can just like skip through this process till you see like this list has like 5 cards. I'm just trying to make things as helpful as possible for you guys. So let's do 2017 Nobility. Whose auto are we going to do? Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer, on-card auto, Crescent Signatures, bronze, maybe not bronze. We want to do Crescent Signatures, base. I don't know, how much does the Alan Shearer auto go for? Like 150 to 200 maybe? Let's just say 200. And then so we have the last card. Let's choose one that's slightly on the more expensive end. Let's say 2014 Prism World Cup. Let's see what players pop up here. I think Messi's going to be a lot. I don't know if Messi base in a PSA 10. I don't know. I'm just going to say it's like $4.99. Let's just say that's the most expensive card, and let's just call it $4.99. So it's not an auto, it's just a base. I highly doubt it's going to be that much, but I don't know. I haven't really checked comps. So now that we have 5 cards in here, it shows you the fee. So five items, $25 per card. So the total would be $125. And that's the cheapest we can have. And obviously the declared value that we have here is the value that we assume, the value for the grade that we assume the card is going to get after we submit to PSA. So I'm assuming these are going to get like a mix of PSA 10 and PSA 9. Typically that's like very, very good in terms of like assumption. Because obviously when everyone's submitting, I'm pretty sure no one wants to get less than like a mint. So let's go. If you have any submission comments or requests, enter them here. I typically don't do anything, but you never know. So that's item entry. We're going to go to shipping and billing. And I don't know if we're actually going to be able to follow through this because we're going to have to like enter some payment information. Okay, so PSA has 2 options. So they make it really easy for you in Ship to PSA Vault, where you get free vault storage. It's 100% insured as official Vault PSA, digitally manage your collection with high resolution images, access to instant buying and selling on Golden. So you don't have to basically take it and like take pictures or resubmit it to Golden if you want to use this option. I honestly never use this option. I know some people do, but I typically always just ship it back to me. So it'll tell you the cost of all the items that we saw in the item entry, and it'll give you estimated total charges, which includes basically ahead of time how much it'll cost them to send it to you plus insurance. So typically you want to enter information here. I think, yeah, actually, so if I submit something here, it'll actually like make like a separate code for it. So but let's just assume we're using a Visa card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many digits is a 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think it's like 16 digits, right? So card expiration is 123. Let's just say it's 124, sure. Or maybe it'll give us an issue. Let's just say 324. Name on card, good old breakfast cards. Credit card billing address, same as shipping address. We didn't set that just yet. So let's do, how are we gonna do this? Okay, so typically, actually we might have to do this separately right now. So let's go to account, account here. So I went to the homepage and I went to this, like, this is after you sign in. I went to the person icon here. Okay, where's addresses? Profile, PSA profile. I think this is where typically you would put that information. Profile. Okay. There we go. Default address. Okay, confirm before ending your address. Please advise an update change on any return orders. Okay, cool. So street address is I don't know, 1234 YouTube Drive or something. City of YouTube. State. Let's just choose Alabama since it's the very first one. Oh man, what's the zip code of Alabama? I have no idea. 1234. 5. I don't even know. I don't think it's going to give us an error, but obviously guys, you want to put this address as the address the cards are going to be shipped to. Don't put it to an address where someone else is going to get it and they're going to get it in trouble with like not having your cards and you're going to try to find them, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. It worked because it's not like linked to like the post system or whatever. So let's go back here and say refresh addresses and phone. It'll probably pop up now that we've registered it. Cool. YouTube Alabama 12345. Insured shipping, that's default. If you have like any specific, they typically ship through FedEx, I want to say. Sometimes through USPS. It really just depends on them, but if you want a very specific one yourself for very specific reasons, then choose one of these. But typically I just choose insured shipping, and then it'll just, you know, yeah, it'll tell you here that's how much it's going to cost in addition to the item entry fee. And then we go to next. PSA, if you're watching this, hopefully you don't actually wait for this order to go through. I think I'll be able to cancel it later on. Please enter a valid credit card number. Oh God. Okay. So how are we gonna do this? All right, guys. So I found a sample online. I think this is just an example. Don't try to use this. It probably won't work. I don't even know if it'll let us use this, but let's see if this will work. Enter a valid phone number. Okay, so we also have to add a phone number. Let's just see if the credit card works first. Okay, so that worked. So let's add a phone number. So we'll go back to that page, go to phone number here. I don't know why I just didn't do it all at once. Phone number, what's a good area code? I don't know what 919 is, but I think it might be California or something. I don't know. 919, 9199, 919. Okay. Hopefully that works. Hopefully that works. Okay. So we'll do refresh once again. And it worked. Obviously, guys, all this stuff is fake. I'm not putting any real addresses. You're gonna have to put in your real address, real information. Again, this card number I found on Google. I just wrote credit card Visa example, and this is what it spat out. So don't try to take anyone's information. I mean, I'm sure this isn't anyone's, but if it is, it's not. It's definitely not. Because actually none of it is correct. This is all random. Like the name doesn't match the expiration. Anyway, I'm just trying to tell you guys not to worry about this specific example, that we're using this for educational purposes only, and that is the only thing we're using it for. Okay, so this is basically the last page you'll see. So you'll have the return shipping details. You want to confirm everything, insured, credit card, Visa, breakfast cards, card number, sure, ends with that. That's how much the fee is per card. It's 25 bucks at 5, and then you add insured shipping 34. So the total you're going to pay is 159. And some companies, so this is specifically PSA. So PSA will not charge you until all the cards are graded, and then they're going into the process of, you know, like putting them into the POP system and like shipping them to you. So when you submit something, you're not going to pay right away, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take this exact amount and you set it aside in an account. You're not going to touch it. It's going to sit there exclusively for this submission, whether it's going to be charged 2 weeks from now or whether it's going to be charged 12 months from now. Just take that money, set it aside so you don't have to worry about it later on in the future. Because, you know, I've heard some stories from people where they you know, they didn't have the money when the cards were submitted. And honestly, that's not like the best way to go about this submission. Because if the cards get graded, they're not going to show you the grades. They're not going to send them to you. I have no idea what PSA is going to do if it declines, like if your card declines, or if you don't have like the sufficient amount, like whatever. I don't know what they do with the cards. I've seen some memes about, you know, PSA just throwing your cards in the shredder, which I doubt they would do. But honestly, like I said, I highly encourage every single one of you, just take this amount, set it aside. Not this specific amount, whatever amount is on your receipt, guys. Set it aside for the submission so that when the day comes, they have to charge it. You don't have to worry about anything. There's no delay in your grades and all that awesome stuff. Okay, so that's that. And then you'll see like the spec number. This is for PSA basically to, you know, very easily find this card in their system. And again, when you are doing these item entries, make sure that you're not making any mistakes like we did earlier, because it does happen. Make sure it's the exact card. And then if you can't find it in their system, you're honestly just going to have to, you know, type it in manually, and then this number won't pop up. This spec number won't pop. That's a little bit more advanced, but this tells you that these specific cards all exist in PSA system. So it tells you the grand total declared value is $1,124 like we had. Sure, that's fine. And then you say, I have read the PSA grading terms, conditions, blah, 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 agree that the title, blah, blah. Okay, sure. Credit card will not be charged until the orders you process of PSA. So BGS typically charges you before. I don't know if they've changed things lately. I forgot what SGC does. I'm pretty sure SGC charges you before as well. But in my opinion, charging before is probably better, but some people would argue that this is better. Anyway, to each their own. So once you hit next, and PSA, if you're watching this, please understand this is for educational purposes. I will try my best to tell you that this is not an actual submission. I'm going to try to cancel it later on. But okay, so it's loading. The page is loading. It should take you to the page where you print everything and submit it. Okay, so this is the next page that it takes you to. Please follow these next steps. And I highly recommend you read every single line in this page, especially if this is your first time submitting, because this is very useful information. And okay, package, agree. So probably during this step, you can watch our tutorial video on how to package stuff properly for PSA submissions. The only thing that isn't included in that video is how to actually physically put it in a box. But I go over explaining that in the video, so hopefully it helps you guys a lot. And agree submission in case of terms and conditions. Print all pages. Include PSA copy 1, 2, shipment. Okay. So first thing you want to print. So there's two things you want to print. You want to print the label first, and then you want to print this. And let's just go through this one step at a time. So you're going to print the label. Okay, so you're going to choose whatever printer you have here. You can, I don't know, you can do it in a PDF, print it somewhere else if you can't print it at home. But basically you're going to print this page, and then you're going to cut this little label out and you're going to stick it on the side of the package. It shows you exactly what you're supposed to do, guys. This is very intuitive. A lot of people think it's really hard, but you just have to go through the motions and doing step by step to do this correctly. So once you do that, put it on like outside the package. Don't make sure it's not covered with anything or like any other tape, or like basically any other tape that's like color that you can't see through basically. Okay, so once you printed that, then you go down here and this is obviously the USPS shipping address. So if you're using USPS to submit, this is the address you want to send it to. It's a PO box. Only USPS can send to PO boxes. And then FedEx or UPS. They used to have UPS, I feel like, but now maybe it's gone. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they can't receive through UPS anymore. I'm pretty sure they can. Anyway, this is the address that you'd use if you're not sending through USPS. So maybe PSA just prefers FedEx. But anyway, so print submission forms. Before you print the submission forms, which is like what we just like scroll through down here, there's these two little, I mean, and you can even handwrite these, but there's these two little boxes. It says customer must provide total number of orders included in this package. So in case you have like multiple different orders, like we said earlier, like you have a value order, then you have like a super express order, but you want to send them at the same time. I don't recommend doing that because sometimes you'll get a delay with the super express package compared to the other submission. So I highly recommend you just submit submissions separately, separate packages. But anyway, total number of orders included in this package. This typically will be 1. And then total number of collectibles included in this package, basically all orders. And now we're going with the assumption that it's only one order. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, so we have 5. And by the way, guys, I think I'll go over this in a sec after we submit this, but there's something I forgot to go over. So, okay, so once you do this and then, okay, that should just self-fill. Okay, so now you go up all the way to print submission forms, and then you'll typically have a blank page for whatever reason at the very beginning. And then you have PSA copy number 1, you include this inside the package. PSA copy number 2, you also include this inside the package. And PSA item list, you also include this in the package. And customer copy, you keep this for your records. Don't include this in the package because PSA already knows this information. They have it in the other papers. So that's basically it. You know, tape the package up, put all the cards in, put all these papers on top. I highly recommend putting like bubble wrap or packing peanuts, or you know, just make sure that your cards are protected so they're not like rolling all over the package and when they're being thrown by the FedEx delivery person or USPS mailman. But that's basically it, guys. You have successfully completed a submission. That's all you have to do. Then you just have to mail it out to PSA, and just make sure that when you're printing this, you don't have to submit it right away. You can wait for 30 days. It's good for 30 days. After that, it's going to expire. So the thing that we missed, and I want to go back to show you guys what we missed, is that if you potentially have multiple items within, so let's go back to the submission. Well, actually, I don't know if we can make changes. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward through a lot of these things right here. Okay, so we're back to this page here just because I want to show you guys one more thing. If you are submitting like multiple copies of the same card, even though all of them can be different conditions, like one of them you think would get a 10, one of them you think would get a 9, one of them would get an 8, it doesn't matter. It's okay. So what we're going to do here is 2022 Mohamed Salah Dragon Donruss. If you had that card, that's an amazing card, but I don't think I've seen one. They're out of 8, so they're really rare. I don't see Dragon here. Optic Photon. Oh, there it is. Dragon. So let's say you have 5 of those 8 dragons. So, and you want to submit them all at the same time. And you think one of them is going to get a 10 again, 9, 8, 7. Let's just say, I don't know. It's like a mix of grades. You still have to say quantity 5, and then you have to declare the total value of all 5 of them together. So this time we chose regular. I should have just, you know, chose the one that we used just now, but let's just assume every single one of these is very, very expensive. So even if the total passes this requirement here, like the max value per item, it's completely fine. So let's say each one of these is like $1,000. So the total would be $5,000. So it'll be completely fine because you're submitting 5 line items, or sorry, not 5 line items, quantity 5 of the same card all together, and you think the total value between all the PSA 10s, 9s, and 8s or whatever is going to be $5,000. So let's just, for simplicity's sake, Prism, I don't know, Ronaldo. It's probably going to be one of his autos. That's 2020 Euro for some reason. Sure, we just want an example. So, and then we're just gonna do like 200, sure. So this is, I just added this to show you guys that this, this is how it works. And basically you just follow the same steps that we showed you earlier on in the tutorial. But that is basically it, guys. Hopefully you guys find this video extremely helpful, especially if you're a beginner, especially if you've never submitted cards before, or especially if you've submitted through people because you've been discouraged or like a third party because you've been discouraged on submitting on your own, you don't know how to do it. Hopefully now you do. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. Join our Discord and ask questions there. We have a big card trading community. Everyone's super helpful. People trade cards, sell cards, you know, talk about like Champions League matches, EPL. We have fantasy as well. And you can also send a message through Instagram. All the links will be in the description down below, guys. And worst case scenario, if you don't use any of those things, you can just send us an email. Yeah, hopefully we get to your answer quicker than we normally do because it's been very busy this time of year. But yeah, thanks for all your support, guys. Hopefully, again, you find this video very, very helpful. Stick around for more content, group breaks, reviews, giveaways, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.